All right, now I'm going to go to the Extras and Stand-ins tab, and here's where I can add in information about what extras or other people are going to be called that day. So I'm just going to call in 5 bystanders, and I'm going to type them as background extras, and I'll set in both what time they should arrive and then what time I want them ready for set. So I'll do that way and hit add today. And you're going to see those show up right here under the background section. I'm going to also do this with maybe one stand-in. Perfect. Now, one thing to note is that this is just adding the information to the call sheet. You're not necessarily going to be publishing the call sheet to these extras. So they work a little bit differently than cast. If you do want to specifically schedule someone's call time and publish the call sheet to them as if they were a cast member, I would recommend adding them as cast. This section is really designed for those like bulk information where you just have to specify, 50 horses available at this time. All right. So the next section is crew calls. This is a big section. Again, scroll down here. This is on the second page of my call sheet. And from here, I'm going to be choosing, basically, we include all of your crew by default. They're going to be broken down by position. Really, the things that you're going to be customizing here is customizing people's call times as needed. And then if there's anyone that you don't want shown on the call sheet, you're going to be able to hide those people from the call sheet. So just to show you what this looks like, if I'm going to pre-call my director, maybe I want them there an hour early, I'll hit this add pre-call button by their name, and then I can specify a duration for that pre-call. So I'll hit 1 hour. That's going to pre-call them an hour before my general call time. Now, the reason we do it this way is because if the schedule changes, which let's be honest, it often does, if my call time changes, let's say I push everything back half an hour, what's really nice is that because my call times are all relative to the general call time, they will automatically be updated. So it's great for handling scheduling changes there. All right, so director's pre-called an hour. Let's say I want to set the producer's call time to on-call or own-call, just because they don't really have to show up at a certain time. To do that, I'll hit add pre-call, and then I'll toggle over to this text option, and then I'm just going to type in OC here. I can really type in whatever I want, so if I want to specify someone as off, I would do it that way. But I will just do OC, and then I'll maybe also do this person as per AH, whatever you want to put there. All right, great. The other thing I want to do is I want to pre-call my grip department, or let's just say my electric department. I want to pre-call them an hour. So I could go through here and manually add an hour pre-call to every electrician. But what I'm going to do to save time is add a department pre-call. And this allows me just to kind of do the whole thing all at once. So I'll hit 1 hour there, and boom, everyone in that department is called an hour early. It's important to note that individual pre-calls override department pre-calls. So if I added a pre-call to this person, that would override the department pre-call, like so. One other thing to note is you can also switch this over to a delay call. So instead of an hour and 30 minutes early, by delaying it, you'll make it an hour and 30 minutes after general call time. Okay, great. To remove that, you just hit the X and that'll clear it out. One other thing to note here is that you can drag and drop these crew members into different orders. So perhaps I want to put the associate producer above the director. I can just drop them there and that will reorder. Now over here, you'll notice some of these icons that are kind of grayed out and real small. So the main one over here on the left that you'll want to know is to hide the person from the call sheet. So if there's anyone you want to get rid of, you just click that hide button and that will remove them from the call sheet. This, of course, is not removing them from your crew. It's just hiding them so they don't show up on the call sheet. You can also, these icons here are an email and a phone number or a phone icon. Now they're grayed out right now because you'll notice it says email display option must first be toggled on for this call sheet. So in order to display email addresses, you have to enable that at the master level, if you will. So I'm going to do that by toggling that on. And then I'm also going to do this and toggle on phone numbers. So you can see here, it's just added, I'm going to make my preview larger. It's just added everyone's phone number and email address next to their name in the call sheet. Now this is great, but let's say I don't actually want everyone's phone number and email address. Like perhaps I don't want my producer's phone number and email address out there for the world to see. So for this reason, I can manually click in here and disable the email or phone number on a person by person level. So this allows me to have granular control over whose contact information I'm sharing. And you can see here on the preview that that's updated. Last thing to note here is that you can mark someone as a key crew member. So when you do that, I'm just going to do this for 5 people here. Anyone you mark as a key crew member is going to show up on the front left of the call sheet. So this is usually where you're going to put your heads of production. In this case, it would actually typically be where you're going to put really important VIPs like the director or the producer, maybe the first AD. Anyone you want to feel important basically can go up there in that very important people section. And then lastly, you can mark someone as a key contact, and this just kind of highlights their contact information on the call sheet. So I would do this with someone that you would want people to call, like a second AD or a producer. So I'll put those numbers in as the key contacts. And what that's going to do actually is manually include their phone numbers down here under useful contacts. And it will also highlight them on the mobile call sheet. Okay, well, that's the crew call section. You can also toggle some layout options if you want to shift around the way the departments are laid out to balance out the column lengths. You can do that. You can also just manually kind of specify how many columns you want them broken into. So you've got some options there. The last thing I was going to mention is that you can hide entire departments as well. So you just click on that department icon to hide them. And then lastly, to reorder, if you want to change the order that departments are listed, you'll have to do that over here on the Departments tab. And this is where you can configure your department and position lists for the entire project. But if you drag and drop these into a different order, that will update the order in which those departments are listed on the call sheets. All right, well, that's it for the crew call time section. So hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, happy filmmaking.